What's up, guys? It's JJ Ricochet back with another mapping video. Today, we're looking at what if every continent went to war with the others. So, as you can see here, we have North America in this magenta color. Central America, I'm counting as like continent because it's its own kind of thing. Is blue. South America's red. Africa's green. Asia's yellow. Europe's this like brownish purple color, and then Oceania, which it's not exactly a continent, but it's like a group of like islands and such. So I'm calling it a continent. Is like this pinkish, like beige colors, sort of. And yeah, those are the continents that I have. Antarctica is not here because they don't really have people there. But yeah, so the start of this war. Sorry, I just had to get back into my thing. North America would be invading into Central America. They will start invading through Belize and Guatemala, as well as trying to get further down to try to get to Honduras, going down the coast and finally reaching it, as well as cutting down, reaching El Salvador and taking that over, and fully cutting off Guatemala from all sea access, and eventually making Guatemala surrender as they push down further into Honduras, and eventually even reaching it into Nicaragua. And at this point, South America will also join the war and start invading Panama, trying to get to the Panama Canal, which they eventually do successfully, and continuing on through after they cross it, making a campaign effort, which is the entirety of South America, all of their militaries combined, invading up through Costa Rica into Nicaragua, meeting up with America as they just finished off Honduras and are invading further into Nicaragua, eventually meeting up right up against South America, and they start battling it out with South America going up a little bit, then North America quickly taking it back and going further into Nicaragua, fully taking that over, even pushing into Costa Rica. So as you can clearly see, there are no alliances between the continents, as these guys were just trying to take out Central America so they could get to each other to fight. But North America's real motivation for this is they want to get to the Panama Canal so they can access trade through the Panama Canal. So no one will be able to trade with going through the Pacific Ocean if they are like European. They will have to go all the way around to get to China instead of just going through the Panama Canal to get there, which would be less because Pacific, it actually means peaceful in like Latin or something. I don't know what language. But yeah, they will make further campaign efforts to try to eventually reach the Panama Canal, which they will do, and they will cross it, invading further into it, and finally reaching into Colombia. They had already reached South America, capturing these equatorial islands. Equator islands that are on the equator, so technically equatorial Ecuador islands, I guess. These are British islands, but I colored them red because South America. And then this is supposed to be red. I don't know why it's green. But yeah, they will eventually reach a halt as they focus their campaign efforts somewhere else as Russia invades into these Alaskan islands up here, trying to take over some of the Alaskan peninsula, as it kind of is a peninsula. It like stops and then it's surrounded on 3 sides by water. So yeah, it is a peninsula. But yeah, they will take over some of these Alaskan islands and start invading into mainland USA. Well, mainland Alaska, which is, I want to say it's the U.S., but in this effort, they will also invade into Hawaii, taking one of these islands, and also we're taking all of these small islands. Because most people just think that these are like the main islands of, these are the main islands of Hawaii, but no one ever realizes that there are actually like islands going all the way from here all the way down to like there-ish. But yeah, they will take all of these islands going through here and eventually fully taking over Hawaii. And yeah, at this point, Europe has started invading into Russia, completely taking over Kaliningrad. Sorry, I pressed the wrong color first. But they will completely take over Kaliningrad and start invading into Turkey. I do realize that this part of Turkey is in Europe, but most of Turkey, which is like at this cutoff, is in Asia. So I put them as Asia because just like how Russia, like that. Oh my god, that much is in like Europe, but I put them in Asia because all of this is still in Asia. And most of these people would not be on the same team, like India, Pakistan, and China. Pakistan and China would be on the same team, but India would not be on the same team as this too. But you know, it is what it is. It's not Oceania. I don't know why that was colored as Oceania. But they will also start pushing into Africa, going through Morocco, and trying to go along the coast. They will take over some of these little small islands, going ever so slowly down the coast, as they are trying to completely cut Morocco off the coast and start going down through Western Sahara, through Mauritania, still don't know the name of that, and eventually like going all the way to there before they get stopped by the African forces that are trying to stop them, and that make a pretty good campaign, cutting off the European troops from one another and completely taking back the southern part of the Western Sahara and completely taking back these smaller islands. This was surprising to even me, as they have made a really, really good campaign, taking back even this little area over here, and almost completely cutting these guys off from naval access, as they do make one last final stand, which actually goes really well for them as well, as they completely push out, killing and pushing back the African troops and making a large campaign effort to try to reconnect up with these Europeans who just regained control on the battlefield, taking these islands back. And Africa just used a lot of their military, so it's going to be pretty easy at this point to go through. They eventually do connect up with their troops, taking the entirety of Western Sahara and starting to push into most of the African countries. They will eventually push into Mali and this little country over here, and they will eventually reach the Ivory Coast, which will eventually stop them from their expansion south, because all of these countries have started to back up the north, as they are just being steamrolled over by Europe, and oh no! They're also being steamrolled over by Asia now, as they have been building up their troops forces. They eventually take over all the coast and make their way down the Nile River, eventually making Egypt surrender, as they have basically nothing left. They will start invading into Sudan, and Libya. These two are another example of two that would never be on the same country or same side. Same with these two. Same with same with these two. Same with these two. Same with these two. Same with these two. Same with basically everyone over here. Yeah, so this is just a really weird war. But in this scenario, they're just all working together very well. But yeah, as you can see, Central America was definitely the weakest, as they have the least amount of countries and probably the weakest countries out of all the continents, like combined, like averaged. But Africa is probably the second weakest because they have a lot of poor countries and a lot of countries that don't have very good militaries. But they do have a few strong ones like South Africa. They have the DRC. They have Ethiopia. They have Egypt, which is already gone. They have Nigeria. They have Algeria. They have Madagascar. I almost said Morocco. No, Morocco's this one right here. But yeah. And they will actually start to move into Tunisia and completely cut Algeria off, completely taking most of its populated area, making Algeria surrender. Oh no, that's another one of I don't want that. That's another one of Africa's main competitors gone. They will use that to start invading into Libya, which they will eventually get met up with Asia as they completely start duking it out over here. And Europe will start doing this first because Asia's main troops were focused on trying to cut off Africa from this little strait right here. I think this is the Red Sea. Might not be, but they will eventually go all the way through, cutting off access to the Red Sea and completely taking over Somalia and starting to take over Ethiopia, which in reality would not be this easy, but again, this is the entirety of Asia all going after this, which, if you can tell, means Russia is basically undefended up here, as they were told by all their allies to start sending aid over there. So, yeah, Finland's free to take all of this land. God, I keep accidentally doing the wrong thing. But they're free to start taking all this land and start moving down, capturing St. Petersburg with the help of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Latvia, Estonia. And Belarus would be on Russia's side, but right now they would be on Europe's side because, yeah. As you can see, this is an old map because Russia does not have this. That's Ukrainian. But they will also start invading into Turkey. Greece will do most of the effort there, as they will start taking taking Turkey over. They'll also make a naval landing over here, invading into this. And that's when Asia's like, all right, pull your troops, most of your troops out of Africa once you're done with your campaign against Sudan and Ethiopia, and come help out the mainland, which they will do. They will make a huge campaign effort to try to cut Africa in half, which does go successfully, with a few minor setbacks as Africa does push back, and then Asia pushes back in, then Africa pushes back again, cutting off some of the troops and completely wiping them out. But then Asia goes through a full campaign effort, takes them back, widens all of this so that they can't take it back easier. And, Southern Sudan surrenders, and Sudan surrenders. And after they fully start taking over all the border of Chad, while Europe is busy in Asia, so they aren't making any more gains, Chad will push back a little bit, entering into Libya and Sudan a little bit, but at this point, this is only because they've withdrawn most of their troops to try to help out the homeland, meaning they were able to push back, cutting the cutoff in half, surrounding some of this empty land, which they realized was empty, and completely just claim again. And yeah, they will free this country and free this country, but at that point they reach where the troops have been. They take back Sudan and they take back the areas of Libya that were taken back. Huh. So that's. And they start pushing back into Chad, making little progress, as it is very hard to get into Chad right now, as they're being backed by basically the entirety of Africa, while they are making a little bit of gains in Somalia, South Sudan, and a little bit in Ethiopia, trying to connect them up, but mainly just pushing in, trying to make little bulges outward to try to get a little bit more of their ally, liberated. Somalia is not a very defended country, as it doesn't really have much to offer for Asia. Asia includes the Middle East in this, because I don't really care about looking up what's Middle East and what's not. But yeah, this also leaves, as you can see, a lot of undefended territory over here, causing Oceania to push into this, taking Malaysia in this little country right here that I don't know the name of. But yeah, that will cause them to be able to do this and start invading into the Philippines, taking over some of their smaller islands, including this one, which might be a Malaysian island, I don't know, but I think it's a Philippine one. But yeah, they will start pushing into the Philippines ever so slowly. And yeah, this is eventually what it would look like as they eventually reach a stalemate. And suddenly, oh no! Oh, this isn't good. Asia's now here to fight us off. And they will take over Singapore and start invading into Malaysia, taking all of these islands up here, and taking more and more of their coastline, eventually taking the tip of this country, of Malaysia, of this Malaysian island, and eventually working their way down to try to take more of the coast, trying to encircle, take this island, but trying to encircle this main island and force this island to capitulate, which they do capitulate. But at this point, the Indonesian this isn't Malaysia. Why did I say Malaysia? This is Indonesia. The Indonesian island will capitulate, and they will start invading further into this Malaysian island, which they will do successfully, taking most of it back, but not all, as they reach a stalemate. As who would you know? The Americas are duking it out again. The stalemate's suddenly broken by North America as they invade more into Colombia, going further and further, trying to go along the coast to meet up with Ecuador, which they do, and start invading on them. Ecuador, seeing as they are very badly in shape, they have been cut off from all their coast, and they surrender. And yeah, the main reason for this, as I said, trade through the Panama Canal, but also all these countries are still trading with each other and stuff. It's just they're at war with each other as well, because it'd be kind of impossible for them to go on if they were kind of just cut off. The Americas will take back Alaska, fully take back Alaska. All of these Alaskan islands are taken back. Hawaii is taken back. I like how I just knew exactly where Hawaii was. But yeah, America will then say, all right, guys, all of your troops, every single troop, go into Russia. Well, not every single troop, but all the troops that aren't stationed in South America, go into Russia. We are making a campaign there. Unlike Germany, they give them cold gear. Even though it's winter, Russia has sent all their military to Southern Asia because that's where most of them were. The only military that were there were already killed because they were invading into North America. North America also used Greenland and take Iceland over. Iceland doesn't have a military, and they didn't really. Europe wasn't really sending stuff up there. They will also take this island, and amidst the chaos, they will also suddenly invade this island up here, taking this island over. But Asia, seeing how they have lost a bit of land to North America, will send some troops over to North America. Not a lot, but we'll send troops over to Russia. Not a lot, but just a few to be able to stop this campaign effort. By just a few, I mean like a lot of troops, but like not that much to where they are still able to like survive, not immediately die. But yeah, the North American campaign effort is going extremely well. And it is winter, so they aren't sending any of the like southernmost countries, these tropical ones. But they are sending like Mongolia, northern China, a lot of those countries. And yeah. But at this point, the US and all of North America have gotten mostly all of this half of Siberia. Siberia is like that much of Russia, or maybe like that much. That might be Siberia. But they have gotten this like part of Siberia, and they have started invading into this little island, completely taking it over, and they start invading into Japan. They will take all of this island and start invading into mainland Japan. With the support of most of the United States' army, they will completely take over Japan and most of South Korea. Taiwan will be taken, and these Philippine islands will be taken, which will start the duke out between America and Oceania. But because they withdrew all of the backup troops that were stationed like near South America but weren't in South America is able to push back, taking all of Peru back. I mean, only that much was taken, but still, it's part of Peru. They will take all of Ecuador back, including these little islands over here, and they will start their campaign effort to push back all of the troops that are in Colombia, which they will not do successfully, as their commander is struck in the heart with a bullet, and they are pushed back as their troops scramble because they don't know what to do. Now, even the small amount of troops that were left were able to do this much, even making a naval landing and taking these islands back. They will invade all of these smaller islands, taking all of them. Trinidad and Tobago will be taken, and they will start doing that. As they also push into Oceania, pushing into this part of Malaysia and Oceania, going through, taking over the entirety of this like Malaysian area and the entirety of this Indonesian island, even taking over the Teapot Island. I call it the Teapot Island because it looks like a teapot. They will also take over a lot of these Indonesian islands, even going into this half of Papua New Guinea, which is a separate country, but like it's one island. But yeah, they will invade, cutting in half Papua New Guinea and starting to invade all of these islands. And at this point, the North American army has just been like completely exhausted. They're being like the Soviet Union and enlisting everybody to try to make a campaign effort against these guys. And yeah, they've been going up against like the full force of the Oceanian army, but they're still moving past. They're moving past. Oh no, we've used all our military up. That's not good, especially because, oh no, the Asian troops have just gotten to Siberia, and they start invading back into this Russian island. They start invading back into Japan. South Korea takes over itself, and they start pushing back up into Siberia, taking all of this, even cutting these troops in and encircling them and killing all of them. And North America's like, oh no, we shouldn't have made that long of a campaign, because now we're screwed. So they will withdraw. They withdraw all the troops that they had stationed here to try to just defend, try to defend North America. They have completely failed the Asian campaign. They had success in the beginning, but completely failed. And Asia will take back Taiwan and the Philippines, as they have completely withdrawn all the troops from them, and they will start their effort into the Indonesian area, which is part of Oceania, but since there are no troops, they will take it before Oceania is able to. Which Oceania does take back Papua New Guinea and start invading into the zone. Oceania Island, Oceania. What was I gonna say? But Oceanian troops and Asian troops now have met up, and Asia will start attacking them first, and make a really good campaign effort, as they have a lot more population to expend, even invading into all of Australia. And at this point, we have a huge campaign against Australia, but it does result in a Asian victory, but a stalemate of an Asian victory. They did take these islands. I just had to color them in. But yeah, South America is kind of cooked right now, as they're being completely invaded by North America, as they have withdrawn all their troops to defend and attack South America, as they want South America so that they stop attacking them and so they can focus on other places. So I understand that the Amazon rainforest is here, but I'm just going to disregard that, as it would completely devastate North American armies as they marched through a dense rainforest that basically no one lives in. And yeah, they will completely take over Peru and start their campaign past Brazil, ignoring Brazil, and into Chile. Again, mountains don't exist either in this universe. And Bolivia. Yeah, Bolivia. I almost said Belize again, but no, that's literally this. This is Belize. This is El Salvador. No. Yeah, this is El Salvador. This is Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, so on and so forth. But yeah, they will invade into Bolivia, using the border to go across, trying to cut them off. Invading into Paraguay as well, and encircling Bolivia before basically starving them. They starved them out, which is an actual war tactic that even Americans used in the Civil War back in the 1800s. We starved out the Confederates to be able to win the war. And I better not be taken down for saying Confederate, because it's part of the U.S. history, and I kind of needed to say it there so people who aren't from the U.S. know what I'm talking about, because that was the side of the American Revolution that supported slavery. And yeah, so the Union did win, which is the side that didn't, but at heavy casualties and probably the bloodiest war. most of the battles, this is part of France, but it's in South America, so it's not part of France anymore. Most of quick history lesson here. Most of the battles were actually like individually more bloody and had more casualties than any other war that the U.S. had been in so far. One of them had 28,000 casualties, which was a lot back in the 1800s, and it was more than any war the U.S. had fought, even the American Revolution War and the Spanish-American War, Mexican-American War. And yeah, so North America will then invade into Brazil. And the people are unhappy with America as they are completely using, like, they have used up their reserves. They're in conscription. They're just trying to do their best. Chile surrenders. And they're like, all right, guys, we need you all to fight in the wars. We are this close to being able to completely take over South America. Then we won't have to fight for a very long time. And people are like, and the men are like, we'll fight, we'll fight, we'll fight. And even some of the women are like, we'll fight too, we'll fight, we'll make sure they'll go. We don't want to have to fight anymore, but we'll fight so we don't have to fight anymore, which is kind of confusing, but it works. But yeah, this will lead to a massive campaign effort, including all of these citizens as they just want to stop the fighting. Though rebels do pop up in Argentina, surprisingly. This much, actually, which is swiftly taken out because it's just civilians and not trained military. But a huge campaign effort is made against Brazil. I just showed you what happened in like a full 2 months. All of that was in 2 months. Not the entirety of South America. That Brazilian campaign was 2 months. The entirety of South America campaign was probably 5 months or something. But they have been holding strong off against Asia as they have not been able to yet invade into Alaska, as the United States has put in a lot of military personnel there to stop that from happening. And military personnel are actually very happy that they're there instead of in South America, because this is a bloodbath. The deadliest war yet to happen, in the world. This is more deadly than World War II. Not even in war. More deaths happened in this than in the time span of World War II. Even natural deaths. This is more deaths than that. It's not like the Holocaust or anything, though that is included in the death toll that I'm talking about. But yeah. So Brazil has officially ran out of troops, and they are just telling their people to fight. But that's not working, as the people eventually throw a revolt at the government that is left, as the president had fled all the way, and the people eventually break into the building where the president's being held at and kill the president so they can stop the fighting. Yeah. So we now have a united America, as the North American continent has exhausted basically their entire population into these wars. Yep. Bloodbath. Well, back to the European-African War. The Europeans will push further into Africa, now having most of their troops there, as they have stopped invading into Russia and Turkey. They have even abandoned these troops, abandoned these areas. There are only a few that decided to stay. They're trying to push back further, which they do surprisingly well, as they have a good commander there, but it's not enough, as they reach a stalemate, and eventually they'll be fully wiped out, but it's going to take a while, as the stalemate has just started. At this point, Ecuador has just been fully taken over again after the South Americans had pushed them away, and they are starting their campaign into Peru. That's the timeline currently. And yeah, they will start pushing further into South America. South America into Africa, completely circling these countries and pushing further up. Bam, bam, bam. Dead. They will make Mali campaign, and Mali is just like, we don't want to fight this war. We're out. Niger is also like that. Nigeria also says that, and this country also says that. We're like, they're like, we don't want to fight this war anymore. We've already suffered heavy casualties sending our troops into these areas, and we don't want our civilians to die. These other countries, though, like the Republic of Congo, which is, this one is the Republic of Congo. This is the Democratic Republic of Congo. But yeah, they will invade further into this. That's not the thing I wanted. They even invade into this little Angola thing, because this is an exclave of Angola. They will invade into the DRC and into Angola mainland, and they will eventually completely take over the Republic of Congo. This country surrenders, Chad surrenders, and Angola surrenders eventually. But after this, they reach a stalemate. This was after like a few months of people pushing in. I just didn't want to show it to you guys because we're already at 36 minutes into recording, and I'm not editing this video because it's non-stop action. And you guys don't want me to like randomly cut and then suddenly, boom, everything's over. So yeah, this is the current war that is going on. And then we suddenly reach a stalemate, as no one's able to go any further. But since there are no nukes, I forgot to say that, no nukes in this war, or else the world would already be over. Sorry about that. I'm a bit tired. But yeah, since no one is able to make any progress, there's a huge stalemate. And everyone essentially gives up on the war except for one continent. You want to know what that continent is? That continent, we have Africa, Europe, America, Oceania, and Asia. You want to know what continent it is? Asia never gives up on this war. Eventually, they break the stalemate, surprising everyone in Europe as they make a blitzkrieg campaign, basically, completely going through all of their things and going and attacking Poland and attacking Belarus from behind. All of the military here has basically died or is off in Africa as they're holding the stalemate. These guys are completely killed, and they start making a huge campaign into Europe, taking all of this continent, and the African troops are like, whoa, 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 run, 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 get back to the mainland, get back to homeland, which causes Africa to be able to go up and over, able to invade all of this, as Asia invades into them, completely taking over, Tanzania is completely taken over. Madagascar is completely taken over. It's on the tip of my tongue. Botswana is completely taken over. This is Botswana. Botswana is completely taking over. Zimbabwe is completely taken over. Zambia is completely taken over. The DRC is completely taken over. Angola is completely taken over again. And South Africa is basically just in a standout, as this is all that's left of Southern Africa, as Africa invades into Europe, as the fleeing troops eventually flee completely out of Africa, making it so they can go like this, but they do not wish to invade into these parts, as Asia is taking them over. And yeah, Europe is kind of in shambles right now, as they're like, whoa, I thought we were having a good time. I thought we were doing good. But really, it was only because no superpowers were invading them. So Europe does make a pretty good campaign, taking back Portugal and most of Spain. They take back fully France and Switzerland, and they start pushing into Austria as they are stopped. But they do capture all of Spain and these little islands over here. They make a little landing into Morocco, but then, as I said, they're stopped as something happens in Asia. All of the leaders simultaneously die, which is surprising. It's almost like it was coordinated assassinations, which it was by one country. Not a continent, just a country. What was that country, you ask? It was Australia? Oh my god, plot twist! Yeah, Australia assassinated all of the leaders of Europe to try to put them into shambles, which successfully works as they are able to push all the way through, going all the way up through Asia, or through Oceania, going up into mainland Asia, even into China, going through full thing, using their entire military, try to take over this. And most of these areas are like, we're done with the war. We just want to get out. This island of Japan's like that. Oman's like that. Yemen's like that. Eritrea is like that. Well, technically Eritrea is not in Asia. They're taken over by Asia. But all of these places are like, we're done with the war. But Asia's quick on that action. Shuts down this area of India, and starts pushing back from China as they have gotten new leaders who apparently are even better than the last leaders. Surprisingly, Australia's plan has completely backfired as they have exhausted all of their military strength. Asia completely sweeps through. Also, if you're wondering how they got that so far, they had like no military in this spot and their military was in shambles because of the attack. Asia invades this African island down here. It's not actually African. I'm just gonna say it's African because of that thing. But they make a campaign in South Africa, completely taking over South Africa, and they make a campaign against Europe, invading all that. That's all that they can do in Europe. But they completely surround Africa, making a campaign to try to attack all these countries from behind instead of from the front, which they were expecting, like Blitzkrieg. And eventually, all of these countries are just taken over, and that is the third continent to be completely taken over. We've had Central America being completely taken over first, then South America, and now Africa. And this is kind of looking bad, because Australia looks like, they're like, are we next? Oh no, all of our allies are gone. Oh no, they've invaded South. Oh no, they've invaded North. They've invaded West too, from Africa. Oh no, riots, rebels, full collapse. Oceania is the fourth continent down, or fourth area down. Now, Asia is clearly winning this war right now. They have 3 out of the 8 continents. Well, 3 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas that I included. They have 4 out of the 7 areas I've included. Or they have 3 out of the 7 areas I've included, plus half of the 4th one, and the Americas only have 1. But America is quick to get on that as they invade into Ireland and the UK, completely taking them over and moving up through Norway to try to get them oil reserves. Meeting up with Russia and Finland, completely taking Finland, and Sweden, Denmark, France, Spain, Italy. Yeah, most of these things I forgot to mention were like there was a huge rebel group in France. There was a small one in Portugal. There was a few small ones in Spain. This island completely broke away and got to join them. Italy had two, Switzerland had one, Austria had one to try to join this one, but were swept up by America. Germany had like 7. They really just didn't want to be in Europe anymore. Same with all of these. There was like a lot more. But yeah, they will now start to invade as we only have North America and Asia left. North America will invade into Portugal again. Not again, but they will invade into Portugal and start invading into Africa. As they also start invading into Italy. No mountains. Stop telling me about the mountains. But they will also take over. Whoa. Also take over Germany, Czech Republic, and Austria. They will take over Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Hungary, Slovakia. They will push a little bit into Ukraine, a little bit into Romania. They'll take over Montenegro, Kosovo, the rest of Serbia, North Macedonia, Albania, and start invading into Greece even. As they completely take Greece over, they will invade into this part. They will invade into Bulgaria, this part of Turkey, and start invading into actual Turkey. I have a little bit of bias towards North America, but they're in their reserves again. Unlike the other continents, they've been raising their military strength instead of like ignoring it because they thought they were in peace. They will take Poland's west border. They will take Kaliningrad, completely taking Poland, invading more into Ukraine, into Belarus, into Lithuania, into Latvia, completely taking over this Swedish island and this Estonian island as they completely take over the Baltics. And whoa, North America just had one of the best campaigns in the world's history. But they completely disregarded and forgot about where Asia was actually focusing on, which was Alaska and Canada. As they have completely taken over almost all of this, even invading into Greenland. This is while all of this is happening. I'm just making it big so you actually know. They've invaded into these Norwegian islands, and they've started to encroach on the United States. They have not taken Canada's most populated areas, but they are close to it. How did I perfectly do that so that it wasn't in the United States yet? I don't know. Oh, I smell something real good. But they will be the second ever country to set foot on mainland American soil. They will also, forgot about this, Hawaii. Ooh-wee. They take all of Hawaiian Islands. They take Dease Island. Dease Island. And they have officially started invading into North America. North America sees this, is like, oh, we screwed up. Take back all of our troops from Europe, which lets Asia do all of this. Not taking the UK, though, surprisingly, as the English Channel, the English Canal is still there, which means the United States can still hold off in Britain a little bit. Wait 1 second. I accidentally colored them in a little bit. That was supposed to happen. They hold on to Britain, though, because, again, English Canal, English Channel, actually. It's not Channel, it's not Canal, it's Channel. The English Channel. And, yeah, that's happened while they pull their troops out. But now, this is a pretty back-to-back war as the Americas push back. Mexico had all their troops as well. They pushed back. Well, not all their troops. They had all their troops in Europe as well. So they pulled those back as well. America will make a great campaign effort against Asia, pushing back. Asia will pull all their troops out of Asia and just focus on America, which causes American Navy to drop off the troops that they had in Britain and start invading back into Europe. But like only a few people because there's like no one here. Oh no, more rebels are popping up. But also, rebels on your territory. Interesting. So the yellow rebels will reunite and fully take over France, as the purple rebels will take over Italy and a bit into Africa, as the purple rebels will also take over Spain, meeting up with the Italian rebels and pushing into France, taking over these rebels, stopping them, meeting up with these rebels and pushing further in as Asian troops do kick them out of this area, pushing in, and actually, if you're being honest, cutting these guys off. These guys are screwed because they're encircled and they completely die. This might be a little bit fast-paced, but this is actually, it's going like fast-paced right now in the war. This is over the span of like a month. Over the span of a month, all of this has happened. They've regained most of Europe and a little bit of Africa and then lost all of it. Month. And the Americas push through. And they make a claim to a straight line of land. Bless you! They make a claim to a straight line of land against Asia. And Asia's like, you know, if we're being honest, we really don't want to do this war anymore. You want to just end it? And America's like, no. Not like America, like the United States, but America, like North America and South America combined. The United States will push into Canada, into this cold area, and Asia is like, how about this? We give you all of Canada and a little bit of your Alaskan territory back if you just stop the war right now. And they're like, okay. So they will get all of their Canadian territory back. And they will also get Greenland back, as they told them, if you don't give Greenland back, we'll start bombing you with nukes. Because up to now we have not used them. We are not afraid to use them. And we are not afraid to use them on your nuclear silos to blow up your nukes. And yeah. Also, all of these continents had united. I just really didn't want to go through and make it so all the borders were like all clean and stuff. But here, I'll just do this for you. Boop. Boop. Ooh. Like this, like this, like this. All of this is combined. All of that. That. Hey, they don't have to fight about Kashmir anymore because they're one country. All of that. All of this. Boop, boop. that's theirs. Like that. That's... You know what? I'm actually just gonna have to cut this out, aren't I? Nope, I'm actually not. So you just heard me say that, but I'm not actually gonna cut this out. You guys can skip ahead if you want. This is gonna take a while, but I have OCD, so now I'm invested in actually doing this. Once I've started, I can't stop. I'm gonna do all of this. It's gonna be really annoying, but it's gonna happen. So skip ahead about 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Skip ahead 5 first. If I'm not done, skip ahead another 5. If I am done at that point, just skip ahead like slow, I guess. I don't really know. But yeah. I'm not cutting this out though, because I refuse to edit this video. No one's gonna watch this video because it's over an hour. It's gonna be over an hour. So I just did all this for nothing, huh? If I am famous one day, and you see this video, and you have watched this far, thanks for your support. If I'm famous, I think you already know that, but hey. Still, thanks for your support. But yeah, 50 subscribers. We reached 50 subscribers if you're actually watching this through, and haven't decided to skip ahead right now. Yay, 50 subs, yay. We're on our way to getting 100. We're halfway, yeah. I still can't believe I gained 18 subscribers in the span of a month. Actually, less than a month, in the span of 28 days. Less than 28 days. I don't know the exact amount, but it was a little bit less than 28 days. May take a bit longer than I expected. But hey, this is like nostalgia when I made videos in the first few years about when I just didn't talk for like half the time, and because I was so invested in the gameplay. But in this series, it's kind of the best for me because one, it's really easy to edit sometimes. Keyword being sometimes. It's really easy to edit sometimes, and also it's kind of like I have to talk a lot because I make the story. But when it's like not, no, I don't want rotate. But when it's like not like this sort of things where I have to like explain everything, I just don't talk a lot. If you watch some of my Minecraft Let's Plays and stuff like that, you could tell that I don't talk for like half the thing. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? It's me back again with another Minecraft video. Today we are back in episode something or other of something or other. And then I just like explain what I'm gonna be doing. And then once I'm actually doing that something, I just don't talk the whole time, which is really annoying. Are my eyes just getting blurry? I'm recording. Almost done. And then we go like this. Oop, don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Like this, like that, like all of that. Bam. Come on. I wanted to zoom out for it to be a perfect freaking Asia. Completely clean, no borders. But I didn't. Because I was stupid. Alright, so we're good in Australia and Oceania. I don't like you anymore. I don't like you, Singapore. Not anymore. Not anymore, Singapore. Alright, so I just gotta do this now. When did I do this? Please don't tell me it was like beginning. Oh my god, it was beginning. Control Y. I'm just gonna. I don't care at this point. I'm just gonna draw on the border. Alright. Brush. 3. No, 3. Good enough. And then K, F, there. Oof. I got a really bad crick in my neck. But I can't stop looking at the screen or else I will mess something up. Oh my god, what did I already say?
I'm going to take your internet away from you if you are going to be that way to me.
When did this happen? Well, that's just not gonna be happening, I guess. I guess it's just gonna be like that. Huh. Alright. Alright, so this is where you would unskip. So, yeah. So, hi, if you just skipped that entire part. This is now the world without the borders, the pesky borders in the way. I mean, of course, there is one singular border right here that stops the America country, the Americas, the North American country, from being part of the Asian country. But as you can see, the Asian country clearly won. They clearly won this war. As even though both of them gained land and didn't lose any land, as I did just give America the thing again. And if you have been screaming at me like, oh my god, what did you do? Yeah, no, I'm not backing up all the way to where I did that thing. Because that was probably at the very beginning of me, like, editing these borders, and I'm not going back to that. But, yeah, so this is the American Asian world now. Yeah. This. So I hope you have all enjoyed watching this video. This took, as you can see, 1 hour and 12 minutes to make. As you are watching the unedited version, because this is non-stop action the whole time, except for the last part, which is just the border stuff. So if you did want to just not have that border stuff, I would have been fine with that. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to Rapid Royale. He is a great YouTuber. He is just starting out. And he does mapping just like me. I didn't exactly get this idea from him. I have a whole document of ideas just written down. But yeah, you should definitely go watch some of his videos. He's a real great guy. And yeah, I will see you all next time. JJ Ricochet, out.